YouTube yard was good. Was good, Yarderos. As it is my tradition, I'm home from work, just took a shower, just smoked a bowl, smoked half a frajo. And I just want to congratulate all the Dodger fans out there, which is my wife, her family, my homeboys. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. You got to the second round. Let's see if you guys could become possibly the beginnings of a dynasty. I know you guys got that bubble chip. I'm a Laker fan, homies. Lakers, baby, for life. I bleed purple and gold. Kobe for life. Actually, I got the LA Times when he scored 81 points. And when we lost to Boston and when we beat the Celtics, I got the LA Times for all those. What's good, homies? All right. Let me start this video by saying, to clarify, I don't know if I need to, like a retired, active type of dude. So let me just say that there's not a Southsider nor a Sureño out there that's I would consider my enemy. When I was game banging, it was just, specific neighborhoods. Everybody else, neutrals and allies. Obviously, when we're locked up, we're all homies. That's the spirit I like. That's why I'm a proud Southsider. So Southsiders up. May the empire always proceed. So, I stopped game banging in 2006, pretty much. Stopped being active, bro. Threw up the white flag. It was over. Pretty much because the hood died out. And so this is kind of like that story. Previous videos, man, there is where I come from. I'm from FMA gang. I'm just going to talk about from when I got out in 2000. I would say about 2001, I'm in the mix. There's a few homies left. We got one youngster that isn't from Vineyard. So when I got out of prison, I got a job really quick in the organic markets and shit. So I was working on in West LA, which is really kind of close to where I grew up. There's a difference between West LA and the West Side. If you know, you know. So I don't know. I'd say about late 2001, starting to get back in the mix. I'm starting to realize the hood's about to die out. That became my number one focus. Hanging out with, this one youngster homie. And, well, honestly, homie, yeah, not an alpha. No leadership skills, basically. Substance abuse, alcohol primarily. But a good homie, good homie. Did a bunch of time. I won't say his name. So my main plan was to just try to keep the hood alive as best as I could. Recruit if you could. So I'd hang out with him periodically, hang out with him more, see who was around in the hood, in the area. I mean, this was off Pico. There are other gangs. There is another neighborhood off Pico. Out of respect for them, I wouldn't even mention them. I'm not really comfortable mentioning the hoods. I really got to respect. I'm a respectful Southsider. I don't really. I mention neighborhoods, and I'm going to try not to. Just out of respect, man. So we came up off Washington. He came up off Pico. It's like it's the same. It's the West Side, but it's not far. You could walk, but still, you know how LA is. It's congested. You go down the street, it's another neighborhood. That's kind of what it was. So I hang out with the homie for a while. It might have taken like a year to 2 years. Boom, we get my homeboy Thumper's brother. All right, there's two of you. Actually, no, Puppet before him. So we got Shadow and Puppet. Then we get Spanky. Then we get a few more. Now this has taken probably into 2002. This whole time I'm showing them the ropes. The primary target, the big neighborhood off Adams. There was a neighborhood off Pico, by Queen Anne Park. Yeah, see, without saying their names but you know what? I'm just not going to. I've said that in previous videos. If you feel like going back and watching, cool. But just out of respect, especially the way how wonky the YouTube yada is, bro. We see all these crash outs. I got to be respectful. if I feel I have to mention these neighborhoods later in another video, then I will do so with respect, right? As I said, I have no more enemies anymore. It's not a Southsider in LA or nationwide that's my enemy. So, all right, I'm showing them the ropes. I'm showing them the primary target. I take them over there off Adams and Hauser, deep up in there, how to get in and out, blah, 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 this and that. I try to say, man, it's not a good idea to be wall banging. Let's not right on the walls where you guys are living. And follow instructions. Next, I'm mobbing on the wall. I'm wall banging basically, and you guys know what I mean. It's not that I'm a tag banger turned barrio. It's just no. You know what it is. You go looking for your enemies or your former enemies, and they're not there. Sometimes you let them know you're there, and you do your thing, right? So then there was a lot of that, and then it was known. They're starting to get known. All these these dudes are out. These dudes are back. There was a lot of activity. It's a lot of back and forth. There was shots fired, right? With both off of Adams and the other hood off Pico. Shots fired on both. No losses of life. I was, I got, so fuck. It's awkward. Look, I'm not gonna edit this, so let's see if I put this out. I was active, man. I was, you know what I mean? Like all of us were, right? We were all game banging. I just, I'd go over there, and it got to the point where, one of my homeboys has a baby mama, multiple kids with her, and they know her, as a neutral. She's not from there. I mean, they knew her baby daddy was from my hood, and they would say, hey, that dude in, Bam Bam, that dude in that 98, I don't know, shit, 98 car, like we know. So it got to the point where it was a lot of activity, man. Like as I said, I was active. I was also in my addiction and in my alcoholism. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I think that saved me. And I didn't live in my hood. Right, I lived in the Harbor area. I lived in Harbor area, South Bay, Harbor Gateway. Shout out to the whole area, and Torrance. You know what I mean? Nothing to hide here. So I did have I rested elsewhere, right? And the little homies were over there, but I did my best. Don't get caught slipping. Don't be out there walking. Once those dudes on Adams find out because of the writing, and now there's been some wall banging on both, and with these other dudes, it's about to get major active for you guys. I gave them straps, Tech 9s, 9s, me and the homies, Tech 9s, 9s, M1. I give them glass. Like to double up. But no, it couldn't be done. Big difference between these youngsters and who I grew up with. My homies, there was a generation gap, and that is why I truly believe we couldn't get it over. We couldn't cross the finish line and grow and still be around. There's a silver lining to this story. So it just wasn't meant to be. The game bang mentality, they just didn't have it. They didn't have it. There wasn't enough of us around. Vineyards. At that point, everybody's pretty much failed fucking cholos, failed game members. We're pretty much done, bro, because it's like hood's kind of, I'm keeping it alive with another homie, but he ended up family first, homies. I truly believe this. He left. Wife took him. You got to get out the state. He was starting to get a little bit active with me. I was seen as a bad influence to a lot of my homies, girls, wives, baby mamas, because I'm, late 20s, early 30s now in the time frame, and I'm just getting high, selling glass, doing fucking primos and fucking coke, working and trying to keep my hood alive. I was outcasted, you know what I mean? So Um, I took a lot of risks. Took a lot of risks, man. Um, took a lot of risks. I look back on that time, and I feel like I failed. Like, but I feel like I failed because my number one mission was like to keep FMA alive. That was my primary mission. But I believe that had I not been an addict and an alcoholic, I would have had more time, and I probably would have been over there better. My head would have been more clearer, and maybe I say, you know what, I make enough money, let me go move over there so I can be there, and then maybe we could really fucking lay low, recruit, and just come out of the woodwork. You know what I mean? And I think of this years later, and but no. And then the little homies too. It's not like they didn't criticize me for getting high and shit, but at the same time, first of all, I'm your older homie, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of us homies, us Southsiders, alcohol and addiction plays a big part. So, but at the same time, come on, fools, I'm showing you how to do this shit, how to gangbang, how to go look for your enemies, daylight, nighttime, giving you guys straps. I'm giving you guys weed, vidrio, glass, and you guys just fail the mission. You got a bunch of straps and you don't use them. That was my mentality back then. You got to put these dudes down. So at the same time, I'm trying to tell these dudes to go over there and handle business when I should be telling them lay low, lay low. Lay low. Let's see if we can get at least 20 heads. Tried everything, bro. There were some taggers. I wouldn't even say the crew, but they were on the west side. For like when you start getting into West LA, they were having some problems with another neighborhood. We're trying to recruit them. You know what I mean? I'm like, had meetings with them. Didn't happen. There was some other, I used to call him my little big homie from Little Gangsters. He had like these, squad of tigers in South Central. Another failed mission. Couldn't get these guys. They basically got deep enough and kind of were trying to do their own thing. Respect to them. I don't really know how that went, honestly. So, man, by this time, man, I'm just getting more deeper into the addiction, alcoholism. I started kind of giving up. It's starting to look like this shit ain't gonna happen, but then it starts to get better. But there were shots fired between this whole time. Let me get back to the shots fired. This whole time, I'm, I begin to realize, man, I can't keep going over here or trying to go over there because any of us catch a case, a hot one, that's a wrap. It's done. So I kind of let off that mentality. And it was too late at that point, right? But that's when I started to realize, man, we really should just lay low and lay low and try to see if we could recruit on the down low. Instead, we caused too much attention. They brought older enemies from off of Adams, and then we had my little homies with those youngsters from that neighborhood off Pico. There was shots fired. That was a wrap, bro. Between both of them, nobody died, thankfully. Some civilians got shot, and my homie shit the bed. Yeah, I got a snitch from the homie. Excuse me, I got a snitch. It's a former homie from the hood. Little youngster, didn't hold his mud, bro. Circumstances kind of worked out in favor. It's like lames get lames. And I get mad at them because, I don't know, man. They just, they didn't fucking listen, or they just didn't have it in them. And then me, trying to be like a drill sergeant, I look back upon it now and I get bitter about it because it's like, fuck, I feel like I was the last vineyard. And it wasn't said, none of my homies said, hey, fool, we got to keep the hood alive. It was kind of like really me. And then they were still down, so they did what they could. A lot of homies were out of state, money, whatever. Even some homies that basically had so much love for us, even though they were living their lives already. Because, baby mamas and shit. But they're still supporting, pitching in for straps, shit like that, man. So I felt like fuck. Um, I feel like I failed, but I'm trying to be really, not shit on these youngsters, because at the same time, now that my life has changed, I'm like, well, fuck, man, maybe it was for the best, because now I live a good life. I mean, I always say I've been clean of narcotics 17 years. I would have had 17 years in alcohol. I relapsed like at the end of the pandemic, not that long on alcohol, but I'm coming up next year, it'll be 4 years off alcohol. So I feel like in a way there was a silver lining. I'm a failed game member, so now my life is good, because I swear, bro, there's only so much I can say, but when I say I was active, I was active. I was trying I was active, bro. With the pistol, I was active. And if they would have caught me slipping and I would have caught them slipping, I would have taken the penitentiary, chance without, nobody gets a life preserver. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it didn't go down that way, bro, because now I got a beautiful family. I got 2 beautiful boys. My life is good. I just got a raise today. I've always been a hard worker. And it's, even though I'm trying to do this content, I don't know, it's kind of hard, dude, because I say it over like a broken record. I still haven't gotten the high desert. Maybe I'll do that next week early. But, it's me. What can I say? When I can't? I don't want to say some shit I'm not supposed to, or mention neighborhoods that they might not like the shit if they see it, even though I'm in good standing, even if I pay respect to them. There might be some hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings. Some of my homies that were they died in the line of duty. So this is kind of like a light way of saying, I paroled in 2000. I really stopped and walked away like around 2006. I got sober. I think I relapsed. I met my girl. I got sober, relapsed, and then I got sober. And that's when it became, I always talk to my homies, because obviously, that all this, my time on the street serving FMA was longer than my 5 years in prison, before and after, right? I was out there, bro, with fucking 16 shot 9, 380, being an idiot, coked out, cracked out, drinking and driving with a pistol. Trying to catch these dudes slipping, sometimes by myself. I mean, I don't know, man. That's what it was. Alcohol would get in me, and then I'd be like, I get these nuts. And I always have a can with me. So when I'd go and there was nobody there, I just let them know I was there. And I had this thing about always putting my name. Maybe it was a tiger in me, But that's game banging too. Game banging's gangsters been doing that. Cholos, Southsiders, essays, that's our style. If we go hunting and you're not there, we'll let you know we're there. Vice versa. Just it's what we do. A lot, just numerous times, broad daylight. It was crazy, man. There was some activity, man. I had a few mistaken identities. Shots fired, but thankfully, I'm trying to really not say, like, I don't want to be disrespectful. It's kind of hard, and I had confidence in doing it. I can mention these neighborhoods. I mean, I'm showing respect, but don't want to piss nobody off, and that's just a viewer. And I could be like, I'm fucking, like I've said thousands of times, I stopped game banging in 06. I don't even live in California. I left in 2015, but for a career job, now I'm just a regular American. I survived, homies. A lot of us survived. We should be thankful we survived. Even though I'm not from a big ass hood, but hey, bro, it's just an LA thing. Southsiders know. Some of us fucking are down for our hoods, and don't matter how big our hood is, we're gonna do what we need to do for our hood and in the name of our hood. That's just how it is. Our neighborhood. Notice I say gang a lot because the neighborhood multi-generational. I really did try to keep my hood alive, and I carried that weight a long time in my addiction. I don't know. I probably went through depression, PTSD. That FMA was probably going to be gone, and I was like the last vineyard to be able to try to keep it alive. Then I get mad at the homies. A bunch of homies I don't even talk to now, because I say a bunch because there's quite a few of us, and I'm mad at them. Like, I need your help again with the little homies, fool. I was the only one over there, going over there, strapped up with them. You know what I mean? On their block, trying to recruit the blah 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 blah. Just doing what we're supposed to do. Where were you? Now I look back, they were probably living their lives, whatever that is. Living their lives and doing them. You know what I mean? So, good for them for not falling into some shit and going to do some shit with me and being on the block, because maybe they would have got caught up. Maybe they go hunting and something shit happens. If one of the little homies told, man, there's a story, bro. Fuck it. We catch this dude slipping. He basically ranks out. Nothing happens, right? The host couldn't pull his shirt off because it's car to car. My homie that snitches in the back seat. I'm shotgun, so you already know. Shit you not. Where you from? I don't bang. Where you from? I don't bang. Stop lying. Where you from? Why does that hat have that letter? Where you from? Stop ranking out, you bitch. I don't bang. I don't bang. I don't bang. And, I'm not one of them. So, all right, you don't bang. You don't bang. And look how the world works, or God, or the universe. If we catch him on the street, and let's just say shirts get pulled up, you know what I mean? That's probably a life sentence for all of us. And again, the homie they told on his little homie is in the back seat. So if he told a year from that incident, or months after that incident, would have told on me, I would not be here. I would not have a lovely home. I would not have my 2 boys. Shit, my bad. That panic was, what time is it? But I know I got time because the bus don't come till 3:45. You know what? Maybe I do some editing, but not this. Because see, my kids, that's all that matters to me now, bro. So I look back on that as a blessing. God or the universe said, you know what, George? You know what, Jorge? ¿Sabes qué? Well, puta, no. No. You're not going to commit. You're not going to take a life. Your hood's not going to, it's going to die out. And, you're going to meet your girl, and you're going to have kids, and you're going to live a regular blue-collar American life in the Midwest. That's what my life is, and I'm so grateful. So grateful. Because I know those dudes wanted to kill me, and I know how I know. You know what I mean? Just off activities. It was on site. They knew my car. Both these hoods knew my car. And I spent a lot of time there, and just how it works when you game bang. Sometimes you get slipping, sometimes you don't, right? So I would try to tell this story as best as I could, as respectful as I could, because it does involve activities. But I can only say so much. Again, if I feel I ever have to mention the neighborhood, I would do so with utmost respect. Let me say it again. There's not a Southsider in the country that's my enemy. We're allies now, bro. I stopped game banging in 2006, bro. The hood died out, but I'm still Bam Bam from FMA. Familia gang, bro, always. And, it just fizzled out, and that's it. But I have the utmost respect for our culture. As a Central American, grew up amongst Mexicans. I love you fools, you know what I'm saying? And my homies love me. And I respect the South Side, and I always will.